जानकारों की राय के मुताबिक 1953 की म्यूजिकल सुपरहिट फिल्म अनारकली ही थी।
This week we got news from India that we lost one of the greatest anchors and a star of Indian music. We are not talking about a singer, a music director, or a writer, nor for that matter an actor, but we are talking about a radio announcer who for the last 7 decades, yes, friends, for almost 70 years, he was the glue that brought the Indian music industry, the Indian films together in a weekly show, giving us well over 50,000 episodes. A show called Binaca Geetmala. Friends, I'm talking about the respected, I call him Sir, Ameen Sayani. Ameen Sayani and Binaca Geetmala were two sides of the same coin for almost not one or two, almost 3 generations. He brought us all together on Wednesday night to listen to some of the best music that India had given us. First it was the top song of the week, then the top song of the month, and eventually the highly awaited, the top song of the year, starting in 1953, for almost 3 decades, I believe. He had a knack and a charisma. There are many people who have a lot of knowledge to share, but he had a knack of wrapping it up in a short time right after the signature bugle and tell us an interesting story that will lead into the song. Ameen Sayani to me was the Casey Kasem of Hollywood, the DJ and radio announcer whose famous countdown of the top 40 songs kept Americans glued to the radio. Well, it just so happens Casey Kasem, his middle name was also Amin. What a coincidence. And Casey Kasem was 6 months younger actually. Ameen Sayani was born December 21st, 1932. So he was 91 when he left us last week. And he had a long life and one of the most rewarding lives because he loved what he did, deeply passionate. There was not a single soul who could ever say that he didn't touch his heart or soul, from singers, songwriters, lyricists, actors. He became part of their lives and they became part of his life. And he became part of our lives as we listened to the weekly program. I still remember growing up, we didn't have a radio in the house. And only one neighbor out of maybe a dozen had a radio, and 7 o'clock we'd wrap up our dinner homework and go and listen to the countdown. And what a unique style. And one of the things which is signature for him, that most often we say bhai or behno. He always started his episode by saying behno or bhai. Talk about respect for women. He taught us that almost 3 decades ago. 7 decades ago, 3 generations ago. His capturing voice, just like Casey Kasem, was a glue that brought us together. And as he talked about the next song, or Behno aur Bhaiyo, Agli Paidan Pe, certain signature words, Paidan Pe, Choti Pe Pancha Hua Ye Geet, was unimaginable. And as I remember, there are times when we all expect a certain song to win a particular year's top spot, or we expect undoubtedly that certain song would. But there were surprises, many surprises. Who would forget the 1966 Baharo Phul Barsao Mera Mehboob Aaya Hai? But then the biggest surprise for me in particular as a singer and an avid fan of Mukesh, the surprise came, I believe, in 67. Jis dil mein basa tha pyar tera, jis dil mein basa tha pyar tera. He just had a way of bringing people together. One of the things about Sayani. He was a born Gujarati Muslim and had married a Hindu Pandit's daughter. But together he raised not only just his own family, he raised millions of families around the world. And one of the episodes I'll never forget is in an interview he said, संगीत, I'll say this in Hindi, संगीत ने हिंदुस्तान को जुड़ाया है, संगीत ने हिंदुस्तान से टुकड़े बनने से बचाया है. You know, meaning that he always said credits that music brought all the Indians together. And without it, India would have fallen apart into pieces. Well, what he probably did not realize, he was a backbone in making that happen, in one of the backbones at least. And in his parting days, he said, Indian music will become not only the glue for India, but for Asia and eventually for the whole world. And he was an eternally optimistic man. He said, India with all its problems, you know, you hear about corruption, you hear about rape, you hear about theft, you hear about destruction. He always believed, as an eternal optimist, music may actually bring it, not necessarily an end, but it brings down these uneventful facts of life that happens around the world and in the country. So I would say that today, as we bid farewell to Amin Sayani, the only thing I do remember, you can look at any of his pictures, he always had a smile on his face. He was happy, and he almost had like I was surprised that he actually didn't act in movies. He reminds me of the personality that Dick Van Dyke, who could forget, that Hollywood actor, you know, acting with Julie Andrews and many other famous actors in movies. I'm so excited about talking about Mr. Sayani, Ameen Sayani. So as we bid farewell to Amin Sayani, I just feel that it may be generations from now there could be another Amin Sayani to be born. So let his soul rest in peace, and we pray and bring all the comfort to his family and many fans around the world. Thank you, and again, a passionate singer, a doctor who understands. I think he had a heart attack from what I remember. And this happens to be, February happens to be the heart month. People need to pay attention to their hearts. And but be as it may, for this interview, I would say, for this video, I would say, God bless his soul and wish him all the best to his family and his fans.